Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm alright. I feel very sick today, so if I do little burps, please don't
Oh.
mind. The reason I feel sick is because I've upped my dose.
Yes.
Congratulations to
Well
me.
done, you. It's never a negative thing, you know.
No, I love it. No, I don't care. The thing is, with antidepressants, I think first, when I first started taking them, I was thinking like, damn, I hate the fact that I have to do this. I hate the fact that I have to take a pill to be happy. I hate the fact that my life is just so much for shambles that I have to do that. But to be honest, it's way more common than you think, and it's not a bad thing at all. And like, if it was a physical illness, I would just take it without even thinking.
Yeah, 100%.
So I never have any shame anymore about taking antidepressants. I love it. I love talking about it. But yeah, I've recently realised that I need to up my dose because I got to a point in my life where I was like, I feel really happy. I'm not agoraphobic anymore, for one. I have a job. I have a stable life. So I was like, okay, that means I can go down on my medication. And then I did. And I was like, oh, okay, suddenly I can't go to work anymore.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely fine that I have to be on a high dose to function.
Fluctuates.
Exactly. I love it. But yeah, it has made me feel very sick today because that's the first day.
It's okay. I've started on citalopram, very low dose, and it really got rid of all my nightmares that I've been having, so I suffer with
really
them
good.
a lot. But the nightmares are back.
Really?
The nightmares are back. And when I say nightmares, I mean, like, I can't even believe that my brain would make up this shit.
Yeah. Go on,
Like,
talk me through some of them.
I can't say it.
Really?
Yeah.
You can?
It involves you. I can't say it. Honestly, it's that bad. I can't say it. Tell you off
Christ. I always have dreams that my whole family are on fire.
air. Yeah, it's worse than that. Not to one up you. 11 a reef. But yeah, nightmares are very, very common.
Yeah.
With grief or any trauma. Like, it's like sometimes you wake up and you feel so much more exhausted than before you went to sleep because
Oh my
of
God, I know.
like how horrible the dreams are.
Yeah, it's like you can't even settle.
Yeah, you can't even settle. But there are loads of things you can do, and like supplements or whatever, or like changing diet or things like that, that I'm sure would be on Google. I've not Googled it myself. But I'm sure there are loads of ways. If anyone does know any, that would be really
What, to numb
nice.
nightmares?
Any things that they've done to stop having nightmares. Maybe it's like no screen time before bed, like things like that. Like,
Yeah. I heard that you're not supposed to eat cheese before bed.
I heard that too.
I think I learnt that on like Hannah Montana though.
Brown noise is helping me.
Yeah, I love brown
sleep,
noise.
because sometimes it's not even the nightmares that's bad. It's like when you're trying to shut your brain down, ready to sleep, and it's like, oh, your brain's like, let me shoot all these horrible things into your brain.
Yeah.
Brown noise has helped me with that because it lets me just concentrate on that. You
Same.
can literally have it on Spotify. You just type in brown noise.
72-hour brown noise.
72-hour brown
Love
noise.
it because it just never stops and it never goes to like a big ad.
Yeah.
But I've been reading a book recently. It's called The Untethered Soul. Untethered Soul, I think.
Ooh.
It's really good. It's by Dr. Deepak Chopra.
Wow.
And he is unreal. I've listened to him for a while, for a good few years actually. But my friend, Jake, my lovely friend, gave me this book because they finished reading it and then now they said that it's something that I need at the moment. And it really is. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because chapter 1 I've just finished. It's about how when you can stand on the cusp of realising that the person inside your head isn't you, it's just a voice inside your head that every single person has.
Interesting.
You are like in a really good place for like spiritual awakening because you place yourself outside, like yourself and your brain self are two different things.
So it's like you're not blaming yourself for how you feel.
Yeah. What I've taken from it is that like you have got the power to be like, shh, stop talking right now. And you can. And if you constantly say like, stop talking right now, or I don't need to listen to this, or
if you think something negative about yourself, you can change it into something positive.
Yeah, if you're listening to this thinking, what voice inside your head? That's the one I'm talking about. It's that voice that's saying, what voice? That's the one I'm talking about. And that's what he says. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. I mean, I've known this whole time I've got voices in my head. That's not something new for me. But
I've got too many.
yeah, same.
Too many.
I've started naming mine.
No, that's not good. I don't think you should do that.
No, but it's like, fuck off, Brenda.
No. What does Brenda do?
She tells me that I'm a fat cunt. No, not really. Well, she has been known to do that. But at the moment, Brenda is just like, shut the hell up,
Fuck
man.
off, Brenda.
But
I don't
anyway.
think you should start naming voices inside your head, because I think it's a very different problem then, isn't it? Next.
But yeah, thanks Deepak.
That's really nice. I'm glad you're reading. That's really, really nice. And also, I've noticed, like, the difference in my, like, how would I say it, like, media usage or intake. Like, I'm very happy to listen to a podcast episode that I know is going to be about grief, or listen to a book that I know is going to be about grief in my own time. But what I'm not happy about is watching the telly when I think it's something normal and
So
grief
true.
pops up. Like, I can sit there and listen to something if I know it's about grief, but if it's a surprise grief attack, it's not for me. And that's why I've been religiously using doesthedogdie.com. What I have also noticed recently is, like, how much grief and horrible things that you don't want to see pops up when you don't want it. Like,
so
when you
true.
don't want to see something, it seems to be everywhere. Same as if you, like, learn a new word and then the next day it's everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. And it's really strange. And it's really hard to avoid things like that. But recently, like, I've been, instead of just, like, sitting through something and, like, grinning and bearing it, like, I've made people aware, like, in my house, or, like, especially my boyfriend, like, he knows to check, like, for certain things, and, like, he's
you're
made a
gonna- yeah.
list of, like, all the episodes of his favourite TV series that we can watch that don't mention grief or don't have anything
That's
in it.
so nice.
Like The Simpsons. But you'll be surprised. It's everywhere. Like, it's really
honestly
not safe.
everywhere.
But it's really nice, and I think if you give people that you trust and that you love the opportunity to know about things like missing things on telly, like, usually they'll be receptive to it, and, like, you don't have to sit and grin and bear something just because of social cues. Like,
Yeah.
you can just leave the room if a song's on that you don't like. You don't have to put yourself through anything, and you don't have to sit through fucking Traitors episode where they were burying his mum, and just because it's like, oh, it's a joke. You don't have to. If something makes you feel uncomfortable, leave.
Yeah.
Walk away. And use doesthedogdie.com because it's amazing.
Please start sponsoring us, doesthedie.com.
Please.
Doesthedogdie.com. Please.
Doesthedogdie.com. If you're listening to this and you're not grieving, but you're listening maybe to help someone that is, like, there are so many little things that you have to, like, learn, and, like, it is quite complex. But, like, if you're suggesting a film for them to watch, like, oh, my new favourite film, like, it's great, you should watch this, just think about what you're saying before, because if it's, like, the huge narrative is, like, someone dying, maybe that's something they don't want to hear. Like, it's just about being sensitive about what you're saying. And it is hard, and you will make mistakes.
Yeah.
But, like, people that are grieving will understand that you will make mistakes, and, like, it's better to try than to not try for the fear of saying something wrong.
Yeah, I learned quite early on that it's worse to say nothing at all than to say the wrong thing. Because, like, we are still people. We are still the same people as we were before our grief. We still understand that people make mistakes because we still are those people that make said mistakes.
Yeah, and
like,
yeah.
being the people that aren't grieving, like, I think sometimes it's okay for you to take the initiative and to have the agency. Like, sometimes I think it's easy for people that aren't grieving to sit back and be like, something's on TV, you know it's triggering someone, but, like, you don't want to be, like, patronising by turning it off. Whereas, like, there's been so many times in my life where I've watched TV and been like, someone turn this off. I can't turn it off. I'm so embarrassed to get up right now. Like, someone turn this off. And I don't turn it off.
Yeah.
So I think if you turn it off and then the person grieving's like, what are you doing? I'm fine. Then be like, oh, okay, press play again. Like, that's as easy as that's all that would be.
Yeah, it is. But that's interesting because I know some people, like, back in the day, it's interesting, isn't it? Because, like, when I was in my complete denial phase, like, if somebody would be like, if somebody brought it up even in the way to say, are you okay? I'd be like,
Yeah, obviously.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
But
and I'd get angry.
Yeah. So it is hard to know what to do. But, like, I think just trust that you know your friend and where they're at. And, like, maybe if you don't know where they're at in their grief, maybe it's time to maybe try and get them to open up about it. But if you are close friends, obviously. But yeah, it's really interesting. I think definitely it's better to say the wrong thing than to not try.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my resentment towards friends was people just completely saying nothing.
Yeah. And
Mute.
another one for me is trigger songs. And we spoke about it last week about how, like, you know, there are some trigger songs that are just everywhere. And there's been times where I've been out and, like, something's come on and I've not even clicked yet, and people around me have just got me out, just been like, stop, come outside with me. And I've come outside and then tuned into it and been like, oh my God, thank you.
That's really nice.
And like, that's something that I really like. And that's something that I really need, is when like you show like the initiative of like, let's get you out of this situation for your sake. Yeah. And like, I love that they felt comfortable taking agency and being like, we're getting her out of this situation without me having to be like, can you get me out of this situation?
That's really nice.
I think that's the thing about grief, is like not wanting to be like, hey, can you help me with this? Or like, hey, can you help me get out of this? Or hey, like sort this out for me. Because like grief makes you feel like such a burden a lot of the time, and it makes you feel like annoying for asking, and like, oh, why is she making everything about grief all the time? And like, when in reality, that's like not how people really think.
No,
like,
especially people that you should have around you, and the people that care about you, and the people that you trust to be around you, because they're still there. So you must.
Exactly.
But yeah, 100%. Like, I also really think it's important to note, like, do not be embarrassed about what triggers you. It could be like the most silly, obviously it's not silly, but like you think it's silly thing, like a certain flower used to trigger me for ages. Like, used to get triggered by bouquets of flowers, like songs, names, TV shows. Like, I used to get triggered like by Hollyoaks, because me and my mum used to watch it when I was off school sick. Like,
I loved Hollyoaks.
They're so silly, but they're not silly when it's triggering you. And I also was really scared of the word trigger. Like, I wasn't thinking I was being triggered, but if I was being sad about something, like having a sad reaction to something like Hollyoaks, that is being triggered.
That is what being triggered is.
It's exactly what it is. And like, you can't be embarrassed about it. And I think you should voice it, and you don't have to grin and bear it. And also, they fluctuate all the time. I'm not scared of flowers anymore. I love them. I'm not scared of Hollyoaks. I'm not scared of Simpsons. I watch it. I fucking watch it.
I watch The Simpsons.
I watch The Simpsons now. I don't watch Hollyoaks because it's dog shit, but they fluctuate and they change, and sometimes they'll make you feel like the world's ending when you see something you don't want to see, and then the next month you won't care about it. Yeah. So just be patient with yourself as you're learning and understanding your triggers, because they come, you learn to deal with them, especially ones that you see all the time. Like, it is just about rolling with the punches on it, to be honest.
Yeah. And like, for other people, like around people with triggers, like if you're friends with someone or family of someone, blah, 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 that has a new trigger, I think it's about, you know, not being like, oh, this is a shock for me, or like, oh, how's this going to affect my life? Because like, it's more about like helping them know that this is temporary. And like, we know that it's temporary. Like, we know, sometimes it's hard to know, but like, we know that this trigger isn't going to be forever, or like this trigger is something that we can work on, or blah, blah, blah. But like, we need other people's help in remembering that it's temporary and being like, this isn't going to last forever. Like, you're struggling right now, but like, we can do things and we can help and like help you through the next part of it. But like, it's just always hard because you don't know what to ask for. Like, I don't know whether I want people to be like, let's avoid involving Alicia in things that will trigger her, or whether it's like, no, I want the exposure therapy. Like, that's also really hard for me.
It's hard to know, and I think you only know when you're there, and when you surround yourself with the certain trigger. But I would just say, like, if you're being triggered by something, how many times have we said triggered? We had £1 for every time I said triggered. If you're being triggered by something, take a step back from it. Don't go near it. Like, what's the point in doing that? But then obviously it gets to a point where you can't ignore, if it's something that's in everyday life and that you enjoy or that you're going to see, like, it is important to kind of ease yourself back in slowly, because I know I didn't want to be scared of fucking daffodils forever. They're beautiful. But so it's just like about time. Like, I don't care about them anymore. And that's just the further away that I've got from the incident, is it gets easier and easier. And it will come in waves, but it's okay. Triggers aren't going to be triggers forever a lot of the time. Obviously, things like fucking really gruesome, explicit scenes on TV about death are going to trigger you. And that's normal. Yeah. But the more trivial ones, just be patient with yourself on those.
Yeah, agree. And also, like, I think sometimes as non-grievers, or like even just as people, like, I feel like it's easy for our priorities to get lost in our interests. And like, for example, like if I'm watching a film if I'm with someone, I'm watching a film and like they're like, oh, I don't want to watch that, I feel triggered. It's about being like, instead of being like, oh, but I really wanted to watch that film, it's about just rewiring your brain to be like, I can watch that film whenever I want. Like, I can just watch it another time. Like, it's more about just making sure that they're comfortable. And like, maybe your jerk reaction is to be like, oh, but I really wanted to watch that.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't want to skip this scene because it's actually really important to the plot and like, I need to know what happens. It's like more about like, that doesn't matter to anyone.
Because
like, that doesn't matter.
No.
Compared to what the other person is going to feel. Like, yeah, it's just, but you can't blame a non-griever for that being their gut instinct because like, they don't have the rewired brain that we do. And like, but it's just about, it's that mindfulness and the openness to be like, let's step in.
It's funny that, like, I know we're throwing around the word trigger, but, like, I guess a trigger is anything that triggers a certain emotion, right?
Yeah.
So the other day, this was, like, a positive thing that triggered me in a negative way. Not even in a negative way. The reaction wasn't negative, but it was like, whoa, like a bit of an emotional reaction. So I was at my boyfriend's and he lives with his family and we'd got into bed all cozy and then we realised that we'd left our washing in the washing machine. And he went down like, fuck's sake, like, I'm going to have to do it all now. And he came back up, he's like, oh, my mum's taken all my clothes out of the dryer and hung
That
them
makes you feel sick.
I was like, that, you are?
She's done what?
She's done what? I was like, she's done what? I was like, fucking hell. One, love her, amazing, thank you for doing that. Two, that is such a mum thing that I forgot. Like, there was a day where I didn't have to do my own washing. And if I wanted to have dry socks, I would have dry socks.
I know.
This sounds like this is the thing I miss most about my mum. It's not.
The fact that she used to do our chores.
She used to do my washing and now I've got to do it all. No, but like,
No, but
that was
true.
just a normal thing that like, for him, that's like, obviously she doesn't do his washing, but like, that's just a lovely gesture.
Mum
But
thing.
for me, that was like a stab to the heart because it was like, fucking hell, like, that's like a real mum thing.
Yeah, I think it's also, it like triggers the feeling in you of like, fuck, like I have a hole in my heart, like I am missing something. Like when like people ring their mums to be like, oh look, I did this and it's so happy and blah blah blah. It's like, I don't even want to fucking see you
Shut up.
do that.
Yeah,
because like it's so, because I'm obviously I'm happy for you to feel that and have that and like. That is in me, but like if my reaction is like, oh, that makes me feel sick, like I'm sorry, but it does.
That's normal though within grief.
It's so normal, and you don't need to feel guilty, and you don't need to feel like, oh my god, why, like that people are going to look at you and be like, oh my god, they always make everything so negative.
They always make everything about them.
Yeah, always make it about them. It's like, no, it's not that. It's just that everything in your life is about that. Like everything in my life is about grief, and like it doesn't have to be. Because it's all consuming, but like it's the way, I don't see it like that.
Yeah.
But it is. But you know what? Talking about washing, I am triggered by the noise of wet washing going like that.
Really?
I hate that noise. Because the way that she used to
That's such a Serbian
waft out
thing,
the
though,
creases.
Like, yeah.
And like that, when I hear that, I'm like, oh. But it also, in that, I'm like, oh, I am her right now.
This is what I was about to say. I was about to say, like, triggers and feeling close to someone, there's a very fine line. Like, I think if you're in the right headspace, sometimes, like, hearing that noise of the washing, you'll be triggered. You'll be like, oh my God, that took me back here. But then you can, like, flip it and be like, I'm her right now. And it's the same. I literally was going to say, like, when I change my bedding, I feel like I'm her.
I
when
feel
I'm in
like
the
her
supermarket,
every time I do that. Same.
Yeah, I feel close to her.
Same.
When I'm having a ciggy with a cap on, I feel like her.
Yeah, same.
There's so many things when you feel close to them. Like with Fran, it's like when I'm dancing around on my own to music or dancing and singing really loud, it reminds me of her because that's what we used to do together as children. And now it's like, it's a nice thing. It's like, I'm still carrying that on, like, even though it's painful.
I mean, I feel like there is a difference between a trigger and like just being reminded of someone.
100%.
But like a trigger.
But isn't that just your mindset on the day? Couldn't it always be a trigger?
Well, I guess, yeah. It's just how
you react to it.
Just how you react to it. But I suppose it is just like, it's a thing that you can label yourself. Like you can say like, oh, that triggered something in me. Like that can be a trigger. Like there's no rules, but
You know what does fucking trigger me?
What?
What I saw on Instagram yesterday.
What was
Someone
that?
posted a picture of their mum, which I love now. I used to hate it. But on Mother's Day, obviously, it's a different story. But somebody posted a picture of their mum and was like, happy birthday, mum. Thanks for all you do for me. I couldn't live without you.
Yeah, I always hate it when people say, I don't know what I'd do without you.
Don't
or
know.
like,
I wouldn't be able to live without you.
I don't know how I would cope without you. It's like none of us know.
Read
None
the
of us
room.
do.
Still don't.
Still don't. Never will. Also, like, I just think that's a really insensitive thing to say. Like, when I do avoid Instagram on Mother's Day for many reasons, but also because it infuriates me so much how common it is for people to say, I love you, mum, don't know what I'd do without you. And like, it is a nice thing to be like, don't know what I'd do without you. Obviously, everyone says it. I do still say that. But like, I do think it is insensitive because there are so many people that have lost people. And it's just like, you're just reiterating the fact that like, it would be the worst thing in the world to ever go through. And it's like, we know that.
We've lived that.
We lived that. That is our lives.
It's so true. But also like, there's so many things like that like, obviously you have a right to be angry with people and the world when you're grieving. But like, there are just some things that like, I would never even have thought would be bad.
Exactly.
Until now. And that's just growth. That's just learning about being sensitive. And like, obviously I'm not angry at the world anymore to the point where I'm like checking everything everyone says. It's just like sometimes on some days it's harder to read things than others. And like, if someone makes like a your mum comment, your mum joke, I didn't mean that. If someone makes like a certain comment, some days it's harder than others, or like a suicide joke, or like all of that. Like some days it would really, never appropriate. But obviously there's some things that aren't as black and white.
Yeah.
That's okay to say and what's not. Than a suicide joke, obviously that's just never
just black
right.
and white,
That's
not okay to say.
Blackest and the whitest of them all.
But the thing is, like, I think it's hard when you're someone that deals with grief with dark humour, because sometimes people take that as an invitation for them to join in on the jokes. Yeah. And that is like sometimes where it really pisses me off, because like, I don't know, maybe it sounds entitled or whatever. I'm not really entitled to anything. I don't have anything. But like, this is my grief. This is my thing to reclaim. This is my thing to turn into a joke. This is my life that every time I turn it into a joke, it's not because it's funny. It's because it's easier. Yeah.
And it does help.
And it helps me sometimes, because obviously it's nice to laugh and it releases endorphins. But like, whenever I'm saying it, I still am very aware that like, this is a sad thing. Yeah. And like, for you to step in and reclaim my grief into a joke as a non-griever is really, I think, disrespectful. Have you started with a new tattoo yet?
No, I got a new tattoo. I'm loving griefy tattoos at the moment. Yeah. I don't know if you can see, but this one was done by my friend Frankie, Heartburn Art on Instagram.
Heartburn.art, I believe.
Heartburn.art. But basically, me and my best friend Fran, who passed, we always said we'd get infinity symbol tattoos. And I was really annoyed now because I wanted to get a tattoo of something to do with Fran, but I was like, I can't get an infinity symbol. That's like taking me back to deep, dark Tumblr times. So I was like, how do I make it look a bit different? So that's it. Always and forever.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. I don't know, I'm twitching a bit, but yeah, I love getting little griefy tattoos. This one is a smiley because that's the podcast's little go. That's the smiley face Dad always draws on our cards and stuff. Look at my hand.
It's insane. Also, that bangle is clinging on.
My bangle from Bijou de Mimi. This.
What the fuck?
This is from a letter my mum wrote.
I remember that. When Amy moved to uni...
do I look ripped?
Yeah, you look ripped. When Amy moved to uni, Mum hid notes in her case. Sorry. And that's one of them. I never got any of those. She was dead by then.
Anyway.
I've got circle there.
Oh, yeah, same.
Amy's got that as well, but hers is a bit more egg-shaped because I did have a toot-toot on a fatty.
She did have a toot-toot on a fatty.
And then did stone for that one.
Mine, second,
Yeah, it's egg shaped, but if you bend your hand in a certain way, it's quite round. Whereas mine's pretty perfect, so I'm happy with that. I've got a 7 there because that's our lucky number with Dad, even though he's alive. What else have I got? That's it, really.
This is because me, Mum, and Alicia were going to get XOXO.
Oh, yeah.
When she was alive, but me and Alicia didn't want to get the X. We both wanted the 0, the O, so we put it off for ages, and then obviously, unfortunately,
We put it off a bit too long.
But put it off a bit too long. So now we thought, like, we can just both get the O's.
Just pretend she got the X.
I have to sit like this though.
These swans are sick.
Which way's the gun show?
But the thing is, I did get that snake tattoo. I regret every single minute of it now, but I got that snake tattoo and I was too scared to tell Dad that I got a tattoo, so I told him it was about him.
A snake.
Snake emoji, snake emoji. No, because we're both the year of the snake, and he was like, "Oh, I love it, Alicia.
Oh, wow.
It's absolutely amazing."
You smashed that. Oh, before I forget,
Yeah.
I yesterday weirdly ran into a lovely lady from charity Suicide and Co. This sounds like an advert, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, but she was just telling me about some really good like counselling services, and I was telling her about all my fucking dramas with my counselling and like how the NHS counsellor was just not for me, and how I'm having to go private. But I thought it'd be helpful for me to tell you all about it.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
As Suicide and
real
Co.
help.
I've written it down so I don't get it wrong. Written. Suicide and Co. They offer like a counselling service, which is like a 12-week service, which is way longer than the NHS because mine was only 8 weeks. And they're qualified counsellors. And it's video call or phone, but it's only for people that are affected by suicide deaths. So that's just what they specialise in. And the only thing is you have to be bereaved for 6 months, so not in the early stages. But their waiting list is only 2 weeks.
That's unreal.
And they've
That's
had
amazing.
really, really good feedback. So all you have to do is go into their website and then you can just sign up, basically.
Do you have to be Manchester based?
No, I don't think so. They're based in London, so I wouldn't imagine
Nice.
so.
Okay. Well, we'll check that.
And then the second one is called Greater Manchester Bereavement Service. This doesn't have to be death relating to suicide. It can be any. And that's just similar. You can literally just call them and ask for an appointment. And then the last one that I know about, there's obviously loads and loads, but these 3 I just know that have had like good reviews. Winston's Wish, they have like a live chat online, so you can literally, if you need to get something out or whatever, like I know a lot of you message us and obviously we try and reply as quickly as possible, but sometimes obviously you just need to talk to someone like ASAP, and they have a live chat service which is like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or something, and it just helps you like offload, and they're just like here to listen and offer you advice. So those 3, I wish I knew about them before basically all of my drama, but I thought it would be good to share those just in case.
Yeah, that's
anyone needs it.
amazing. 2-week wait list is unreal. And also I think it's really important to have charities like Suicide and Co. Is it a charity? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Charities like that with a specialised team for a specialised thing, specialised grief is really important, because a lot of the times you go to things like, I don't know, generalised grief things, and it's hard because I know that I want someone that fully gets what it, like, fully trained in parent death, because it's such a specific thing.
It's so specific.
The ways you cope, and like the things you learn, and the trauma, and the way your brain is altered, and like everything is so specific per grief. So like I need someone that specifically targets parent death. And like I think it's really important because with suicide, so many specific emotions come up that are suicide related.
Yeah, like guilt is
like
very
guilt
prevalent.
is a huge one. Yeah, exactly. So like you need a therapist to be prepared for that, and I think that's really important that you have like specialized things like that. And it's not about like, why is this grief way more important than the other grief, because that's just not how it is. It's just we need people that know what they're talking about in different fields, and that's 100%. Really amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, love them. Love all of them. Love the sound of all of them.
Love y'all. Love the work y'all doing.
I assume the Greater Manchester one, you have to be in Greater Manchester.
Yes, but I think you can like search for your area. But yeah, I haven't tried them out, but if anyone does, please let me know what you think.
Yeah.
It just sounded really good. I was just like, since being in the grief space, like I've learnt there's so much more going on than a lot of people know about. Like obviously there's the amount of resources to grief experiences is like, the ratio is completely fucked. But there is so much out there, to be honest. It is obviously just a whole different ballpark. Like being ready
Yeah.
for that and being actually ready to access it. But like, even you listening to this podcast is like a huge step.
That's what I said. I said this to someone. I was talking to them. It was in response to an EMDR thing, but they said like, I'm not ready for therapy right now. I did think about it, but blah blah blah. And I said something like, the fact that you are sat at home sourcing things or listening to podcasts that are about grief, even one as like silly as ours, like it just shows that you have yourself as a priority somewhere.
Yeah.
Because it really is brave to be able to tune in to things about your experience and to get out of the stage of like, I don't need to engage in grief things because I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
To get to a point where you actually want to get to that, to indulge in grief stuff, is really important. And like, that's why it feels so specific for me right now to be in the stage that I'm in, because like I never for 7 years thought I'd ever be ready for therapy.
Never mind, fucking, let's go
Yeah.
back to EMDR and
Yeah.
dig all the way down to the root.
In it, never mind. I had self-centered person therapy first way round, and then and now I'm going into EMDR, and I'm also reading self-help books, which is just like something I never thought I would ever do.
Yeah.
And it just shows that like something that you think is something that you'll never want or never help with, you'll never want it to help you. One day you might.
Yeah.
And just be open to that.
There's no rush either. Like, it took me 5 years to even believe she was alive. So
Alive. Believe she was alive.
believe she was dead. Believe she was dead.
Alive? She's what now?
She's alive? Yeah, she's not alive. And it took
She's
me a
not
long
alive.
time to realise that.
She's alive in my brain.
She's alive.
I always have dreams that she's alive. Not anymore now that I'm at the acceptance stage. I wouldn't say that.
you're
I
at the
literally wouldn't say that. Also, it's like, all right, get off your high horse. You're at the acceptance stage. Good
Yeah,
for you.
all right, good
no,
for
I'm
you.
not.
I've not even started yet.
But I used to have dreams a lot more than I do now about the fact that I had so many dreams that she was like, pranked you.
Yeah.
And I think that's crazy.
I had that same dream. It was a recurring dream about my drama teacher that I lost when I was really close to her. And I had this recurring dream that she would come back to school and lock me in her office and be like, right, you can't tell anyone
Yeah.
but I'm still alive. And I have to tell you, but I can't tell, you can't tell a single soul.
Yeah.
And that would come back to me like so many nights. And like dreams are fucking, I wish I could tell you what my dreams have been like recently.
I would love you to. Will you type it?
Yeah, I'll type it. This is going to be the worst note I've ever written.
No, but you remember when I went through that stage of my grief. This is fucking crazy, actually, that I have never spoken about on this. But I went through a massive period of my life, 2 or 3 years, where every single day I would imagine myself in the worst situations and I would go into a completely different world. I would disassociate and I would visualize it right there in front of me.
But when you were going to sleep?
No, when I was in school.
Oh.
Like, there were times where I would completely disassociate and I would be staring in the classroom and this whole thing would be playing out in front of my brain. Like, someone comes into the classroom and there's a murder and, like, I'm seeing the whole thing and I'm reacting to it. But, like, it's not happening. And I wrote every single one of them down for months and months and months and months. And they are still the most horrific things I've ever read. But I remember we did go through them one time when we were smoking and it was really hilarious.
It was hilarious, but
Because
I feel
it's
like...
so shocking.
Yeah, yeah.
We were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that's what I think when I have nightmares, because I'm like, what is going on up there?
Yeah,
But
it's terrible.
This is my nightmare.
Me as well.
Yeah.
I think I've shit myself. That's insane.
That was the other day. And it took me
The
like...
other day.
You know when you wake up and you just have like, you don't feel like you're in real life. I was like not in my body for the whole day.
I feel like I owe you an apology.
Well,
But
too little too
it
late.
wasn't
It's
me.
been a
That wasn't
lifetime
me.
of-
That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
But they usually do all involve Alicia in some form. And like, I still do get the night, like, I still imagine myself in the worst thing happening before I fall asleep.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like I fall asleep and I'm like, and it's like
Fire!
the fiery pits of hell.
Guns!
A lot of mine's fire, and I don't have fire trauma.
It's good.
That's one thing I don't have. But my night, yeah, it's absolutely
Night
insane.
terrors.
Yeah, very that. But also, something that you told me, I remember in the early stages of grief was like so funny because it was like a 3-part trilogy. It was like The Godfather, this dream that you had. It's actually like the Hunger Games. And you had the dream that our whole family are in the Hunger Games. Just having that dream that like your whole family are fighting to the death and there's only one survivor. It's just like, it's just so horrible. It's so real, but it's so horrible.
Grief-coded. Yeah.
And we just like wake up and we're expected to just like start our day like.
Innit?
It's so weird. Like, there's so much in grief. Like, even when I'm asleep, I'm unconscious.
Unconscious.
And I still am in pain.
Yeah. Can't catch a break.
And like the physical symptoms, my teeth.
Oh, the jaw.
My jaw hurts. My teeth are completely misshapen at the bottom because of the amount that I grind them together. I wake up and my whole jaw aches and my neck aches and I've got a headache because of the tension because I literally like, I'm literally like, all night.
And that's not really what's meant to be happening when you're asleep. You're meant to be
resting.
You know what? I woke up from this nightmare and my boyfriend was like, yeah, I have this reoccurring dream that because he's got a fear of water, that I'm swimming along. And then I get to the end of to get out the pool and I'm naked and I've done loads of poos behind me in a row. And I was like...
That's the worst thing you dream about. That's a dream. That's nice. That's not a nightmare, that's a dream.
No, because he's in the water and he's pooing in the water and everyone's seen and he's naked. But I was like, that sounds like bliss to me.
Oh, bless him. I feel for him.
Evie, come and tell us a story.
Yes!
You're going to have to squidge right in over there.
First guest.
Closer. Yay! Hello, fellow griever.
Hi, my credentials are dead dad.
Credentials.
Cool beans.
Yes, you qualify.
That's why I'm here today.
You're going to have to share that more.
I'm right in here.
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared. So, Evie.
Yes.
What's the worst piece of grief advice you've ever been given?
Not grief advice, but I hate everything happens for a reason.
Ooh.
Absolutely hate it.
Sickening.
Because for what reason? To traumatise a child?
Yeah, just even rude.
That's rude, yeah.
What's the reason? It's so true.
I'm yet to learn the reason.
Mm-hmm. Still going.
Hope somebody tells me.
Yeah.
Save the children.
But hey, everything happens for a reason.
What's the reason then?
The reason.
And I think it just takes out of the fact that just shit things happen sometimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a good thing that comes out of a bad thing. It's just a bad thing.
Wouldn't people argue that everything happens for a reason is that you're stronger now?
I guess so, but I didn't ask for this.
Yeah, I would rather be weaker than this.
I get that trying to get a good out of a bad situation, because there are. I mean, I've met you two, and I was talking about this to you the other day. It's just I've never met someone until my adult life that truly gets it.
Yep.
But no one asks to be a part of it. It just happens.
True.
And I hate people being like, oh, but you're so much stronger now. It happens for a reason. Look where you're at. I'm just like,
Nah.
Yeah, I'd rather be
back.
just normal with two parents.
Back. Yeah.
And a bit shit.
Do you believe with the following statement?
Amy, what the fuck?
If you have a wallet, you must have two parents.
No, because I have a purse that looks like it's from 2008.
Okay. Well, Alicia would argue with that argument because one time...
Yeah.
Should I tell him?
Go on.
One time, Alicia was very, very, very intoxicated and she finds a wallet on the floor at a club. Club. And she says, oh, I found this wallet. And my friends go, oh, yeah, just hand it in at the bar. And she goes, I'm not being funny, but if you've got a wallet, you've got two parents. I'm keeping the cash.
Yeah, valid.
That's a crime. But the thing is,
She didn't keep the money. I have to tell you, she passed it back. But that was her initial reaction.
hesitation, big hesitation. I've had to be convinced to hand over that money because I thought, that seems like something that your parents will buy you for Christmas.
Everything happens for a reason. It's just, the universe knows that I need it.
Yeah, exactly.
I need it
Truth.
more.
Yeah,
I need it more.
Because if you have a wallet, some parents bought you that. I don't have a wallet because it's like I don't have two bed sheets and I don't have spare bedding. Things like that.
Very that. I only have one towel.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that.
I don't have a hand wash that's full. It's full of water.
Yeah, it's just placebo.
Yeah, I do have a purse.
Liar. You're a liar.
I can get it out. She's real vintage. Bought it for myself. Had it for maybe 10 years.
Oh.
What the fuck? So you've been lying about your dead dad?
Yeah, actually, yeah. But there's no money in it. It's not like I have a 2-parent income in my purse.
So that's
Damn.
fine. So maybe the thing is that I've realised is if you have money in your wallet, you have 2 parents.
Yeah, and the other thing is I'm a hoarder, so I just hoard stuff in my purse. It's a place to keep gift receipts and gift vouchers, old McDonald's Monopolies I can't use anymore.
Yes!
Yeah.
Because I never want to let go of anything. Hate
Are you a
change.
hoarder because you're afraid of loss?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tea!
Yeah, maybe I've never thought about that.
Really?
Like keeping we were talking about hoarding today at work.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've got like so much stuff in my room, like when I move house that I find under my bed that I'm like, really didn't want to see that. Like some like old card that I've kept from someone that's dead that I just really wanted to keep but didn't really want it in
Why
my...
would I want that?
Yeah, but I hoard stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I've got a whole drawer of shit like that that's like so painful.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to.
So true.
Let it go.
I keep hold of everything. When I was younger, my mum used to do scrapbooks for us quite a lot. And it's something I want to get back into because I think I hoard all of this stuff so that I can try and remember things.
Yeah.
'Cause it's when you lose someone, it's 10 years for me now, and it's scary like forgetting it because I was a child when all of these things were happening. And I don't even remember half of it then because I was a child. You don't remember that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, when you start to forget, now I just hold on to clothes that fit me when I was like 15.
Yeah.
And just won't
Yeah.
fit me anymore.
That really out of fashion top that you just can't seem to get rid of.
It will fit me again someday, even though I was a child when it fit me. It'll fit me again someday.
Good for me. Good for me. No, I think that's really interesting. Is like, I also have that drawer under my bed of like my birthday card from her that year and like things like that. And like, I don't know why I actually have that because I don't want to see it ever.
Yeah.
I also can't get rid of it.
Because
So
it's
what
a
do I
piece
do?
of them, yeah. You don't want to. You'd feel guilty about getting rid of it because
Yeah.
it feels like a piece of them, but it's hard
Every
to
time
see
I
it.
see it, I'm like, why have I got that?
Yeah.
I've got one of Mum's old jumpers, and it's the ugliest jumper. But I can't give it away. I have to keep it.
Yeah.
And one day it will come back into fashion. But if not, I'm just going to wear it anyway. But actually, I say I'm going to wear it. I've not even looked at it. I can't even
Can't look at
feast
it.
my
It's
eyes
not
on
there,
it.
Not real.
No.
Christ alive. Oh my God. Evie, that was amazing.
I'm sorry. Can you be a permanent resident on the podcast?
Yeah, this
Get me
is
a mic.
this is
Yeah,
a snippet, but
we'll
when
get
we
you a
have
mic.
2 mics,
Three.
when we have 3 mics, we can actually get you on.
Oh my God, stop.
Because
Please. I feel
very
I
nice.
don't want you to leave.
I don't want to sleep.
What are we going to say without you?
Fine.
Before you leave us, what is the best piece of grief advice that you've ever been given?
Is this a thing we're doing now?
I just think it's nice to hear people's perspectives because our thing is, mine and Alicia's grief is kind of obviously very different but very similar in a lot of ways. And like we're very aware of each other's grief journeys, but like I haven't heard that many of anyone else's, and like
That's
grief
so
is
true.
so different.
Yeah.
And like we relate on a lot of things, but like I think it's just so interesting. That's why I really would like you as a guest and other guests because it's like so interesting.
Yeah, to see other perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think because mine's probably something that you resonate with as well, because I think all of us that are grieving will semi-relate on a lot of things. Is you know that thing with the bubble and you grow. That one was
bubble.
really, really helpful.
That's my favourite too.
Yeah, the grief doesn't get any smaller. You just life expands around it and you get more memories. And the other thing is that it's not linear. That's really important. It's something that's really resonated with me recently because I was all right for like 5 years or whatever. I felt like I was over it, which is so funny.
I was like, this
so
is an
funny.
easy ride.
Yeah.
And I was like, by like the 10-year mark, which has just hit this year, I'm going to be a whole different person. Like I'm going to be an adult. I'm going to be 22. Who knows where I'll be at? And I'm like, I'm probably not the worst that it's ever been, but it's definitely worse. It's gotten worse. But the whole thing of that it's not linear is really important because I don't want to feel like I'm failing. And you're not failing. It's just, especially becoming an adult when you've lost someone as a child, you're starting to realise things that you can't ever talk to them about because they're gone now. And you have a relationship with them that will only stay the sort of same way and then you will continue to grow, and that feels really difficult.
That's so true. Because
So
you
true.
turn into a different person, but
Yeah.
you only have the memories with them of when you were this other person that
Yeah.
you're not anymore.
That I'm not
So
anymore.
that's why it feels so
exactly.
alien
Yeah.
to think back.
Yeah,
That's so true.
feels like a completely different time because it was.
Yeah.
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 There's a definite divide between like before, during, and after,
That's
and
what
the
we
after
said
just
earlier.
continues.
We
to go
literally
on
were saying
forever and
this.
ever. And that's,
Yeah.
I find that really difficult. Is that
Same.
just time is relentless.
Yeah.
Just
Innit?
keeps on going.
Life's relentless.
It's so relentless and it's so hard, but also like the non-linear thing. What I was saying earlier is that it's also good to remember that it's non-linear, so that if you feel shit after
Yeah.
feeling happy, you're not going backwards.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's so
You're
important.
not.
It's so important because something might have triggered that day, and that just happens.
Random
Just
Tuesday in
happens.
Sainsbury's, you just start screaming.
Not your fault.
Start
knows
screaming.
why.
Yeah. Lord knows why.
Love you.
Love you,
Oh, I love you so much.
You're the best. What the hell?
No, you
Stop.
guys.
Stop.
No, you.
Love them.
Love them so much.
We really would like to have more guests on the podcast at some point. Obviously, it's work in progress, but like, it's just so good hearing other people's experiences.
It's also just so nice to remember that like there are so many more people that go through this than we think there are.
Yeah.
And like it's so nice to hear different people's perspectives, and also like it's so nice when you relate, but it's also nice when you learn something new about grief and it's like someone else's grief that you don't experience. It's like, oh, like this is so nuanced and this is
Yeah.
so huge. And,
Exactly.
like, it's just nice to know.
It is, and yeah, that's why the comfort that the community of our following has brought so much like amazingness to our lives. Like, it's so amazing, like how everyone like replied to Alicia's call out for EMDR. Like,
Oh, it's so good.
it's all just so like it makes me emotional because it's just lovely.
Yes.
So I think all we can do is take it as it comes, help to talk to other people about grief to help you learn stuff about your own grief and yourself and your own journey.
Yeah,
And just keep doing what we're doing because
we're doing good.
my favourite thing that Alicia's ever said was, "You've kept yourself safe this far, so just keep going."
So true.
So true.
I've got anxiety sickness, so I need to take this off again. Very hot. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry,
well,
everyone.
the thing is, that's enough for this episode. Oh. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Now the printer's going. Love you.
Bye.